Hello everybody, this is a process video for the avatar nails that I recently did with the reference pictures that I used. So before I started filming, I did the overlay and the background color for each nail, and then I started on them. I also did the ring finger before filming. That is the eclipse, which they mention and show almost like a comical number of times, so I just thought it would be funny to put that on there. It didn't translate that well, but whatever. Moving on to the pinky, that's the reference picture. So this is like a mycelium going into a Navi. I don't know, is that Jake? Is that the dog? I don't know who it is, but anyway, I did have to change this one a little bit because I can't do super detailed work yet like that, so I had to make the mycelium just on the braid and on the floor and not going onto the body. As you can see, it's kind of going under the arm there. As it was really hard to show like what is actually going on on such a small nail with my level of skill, which is not very high. So it was kind of difficult to get across. Drawing the actual Navi was fun because, you know, they have these stripes and it was just really nice to try and get all the colors and stuff. Was really fun, but the mycelium was a little bit harder. But still, I think in the end, if you see the reference picture, then you can tell what it is. If you don't, then you might have a hard time. I also did the Navi in a matte top coat and the rest in a glossy top coat. And I really like the dimension. I ended up doing that on a lot of the nails. I really like the way it looks. And I think that it looks more like an actual, like, more like skin. So there's the final pinky and ring finger. Moving on to the middle finger. By the way, I'm left-handed, so I'm painting with my non-dominant hand right now. I purposefully choose ones that I think will be easier to do on my left hand because I know I'll be painting with my non-dominant hand. And if I remember, I always try to do my left hand first so that I can get it out of the way. There's nothing like getting tired out of painting really intricate things with your dominant hand and then having to go to your non-dominant hand and do a bunch of intricate things. So I try to do my non-dominant hand, or the painting with my non-dominant hand first. This one was really fun. I love the look of water from underneath, like the surface of water from below. And I wasn't going to be able to do the sun peeking through with my level of skill, but I do like to do this kind of silhouette look. Unfortunately, because of the way the nails are curved, I wasn't thinking about it. I should have made the focal point a little bit more to the center. As it is, that Navi, which I think is Loak, is like absolutely on the very, very edge of my nail. Then moving on to this one. This was really fun. I love doing this kind of neon look where you paint with the blue and then use white in the center to make it look kind of neon like that. I just have so much fun with those kind of ones. I did have to change the hand a little bit because you couldn't really tell that it was a hand. I was having a hard time really showing that it was a hand. I had to make the fingers shorter so you could see the tips of them. Then moving on to my thumb, I loved doing the background of this one. I thought it was so pretty. Just the oranges and yellows and pinks and the water, the reflections and everything. I just thought it was so much fun to do. Well, downside was I wasn't really paying attention completely and I made the horizon way too high. So then I had to make the focal point below the horizon. It doesn't really matter, but I love the background so much, and then once I painted the Tuakun at the front, it like doesn't look good, okay? And I painted it so many times, little like wings, not wings, I don't know what, horns or something, whatever those are. It was hard to paint those. So that's the whole non-dominant hand. I mean, the painting I did with my non-dominant hand. Gosh, it's nice to have that done with. It's so nice to be like, okay, and now the easy part. Even though what I do on my dominant hand is much more intricate, it's just so much easier. Here's another one utilizing that look of water. I mean, this one is from above, but still it's shallow water and it's got that really pretty reflection probably on the on the sand below. The downside to this one, what made it hard, was that the Na'vi are also blue, so it was really hard to make them stand out. Then this is where we get into the real meat of it. This is my first time. I mean, I have skillfully avoided doing any kind of portraits ever. I am not, like, I don't consider myself an artist at all. This is the only medium that I do. I'm not like painting on canvases too. This is it. The only portrait I have ever done was my Ghibli nails, where I did do one face, but anime style is a little bit different than this, like, hyper realistic. So this is my first time, and you know what? I'm thinking, shades of blue, how hard could it be to, you know, highlights, lowlights? It's like, come on, you got it. Oh my gosh. As it turns out, the only thing that's harder than shades of brown, I imagine, is shades of blue. Okay? It was so extremely hard. Now, I purposefully did this one first because I didn't have to worry about symmetry or anything, because it's only half of a face. So it's like, how hard could it be? Well, it's so hard, actually. It could be so hard. And every little stroke that you do, it's like, it doesn't look like a face at all. It's like you're making the shape of it. You're like, this is unrecognizable. I mean, look at what I'm doing now. It's like everything is too extreme. How am I going to make enough colors, the right color, and to get everything to meld together? And then you're like, okay, this doesn't look like a face. Maybe if I put the eye in, maybe if I put the pupil in, maybe if I try and do the lips. Well, I'm just working and working and working and working on it. And then it's really hard to make it look like shadows and not bruises. It's really hard to make the highlights pop. I don't, you know, like I said, I'm not really an artist. I don't know about color theory that much. It's really hard to do highlights. It's hard to, like, it's like, should it be white, or should it be a really light blue, or should it be a different color completely? It was very difficult, and it's just a matter of, it's almost like Impressionism. It's just like stroke, 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 and if you squint your eyes, it looks like a face, but realistically, it's the colors. I mean, I did not know how to do any kind of, like, a gradient with mixing colors. That was really difficult. So the lips and the chin were especially hard to show the differentiation between them with those lights and darks. And the way that, you know, in that picture, in that still, you can see her lip, but it's like, how can you see her lip? How can you tell it? So making that was very hard. But then, you know, once you get to the finer details and those little white dots and everything, it starts to look, I was like, oh, now it's really coming together. So it took, I mean, I don't know how long this nail took, but the parts that I mean, obviously this is sped up, way sped up, but also you have to cure for 1 minute between almost everything. So it takes a very long time, a couple of hours. Moving on to the pinky, this one was a really fun reprieve after that. There's the reference picture for it, and I did have to change it a little bit because things can look kind of muddy if you don't make a bigger differentiation between the background and the foreground, you know, like the focal point. So I made it a little bit more foggy than it is in this reference picture. The way that I make fog or mist or whatever is by mixing a tiny bit of white with matte top coat. It's really important that you use matte top coat instead of glossy top coat, because glossy top coat, you can't really paint on top of it. It's not sticky enough, and the paint will kind of move around or like bleed. So then I started on the what is it called, skim wing or something. That was hard too, because he's really skinny and I couldn't make him look that skinny. Drawing the little Na'vi was really fun though. Moving on to my index finger, the background, as you can see, is kind of like rocks, trees, mottled business. So I drew all of that. Then I realized this important step last time I was doing some nail art, is that you've got to cover it up with matte top coat, because, you know, top coat is kind of self-leveling, and the background is like a bunch of brush strokes. So if you draw your focal point on that, it's going to kind of fall into those little divots that you've made with all of those brush strokes. So It's really important that you have something level to work on, so that's why I put the top coat on top of that and then started on the focal point, which was really fun to do. So this one, it's like a little bit more like just whatever you want. It's like you can tell what it is even if the colors are not perfect. So I just had fun with it pretty much. And I kept the background matte because I was liking that two-tone kind of, or two-texture look. This is the final nail. Now look at that background. Looking great. I almost wanted to just keep the background like that. This nail caused me so much grief. I don't even know what I was thinking, trying to do. I mean, it's all about challenging yourself. There's no way that I'm going to improve if I don't challenge myself. So, doing a full-on portrait, yikes. I mean, granted, it's not a human face, but it's definitely close enough. Once again, and this picture is even darker, so differentiating between so making it not look like he's bruised up, it was so hard. And I don't think I really was able to capture it, but this is such an iconic picture, and one of the most iconic things about it is the little head tilt, and I really tried to get that, but in the end, I don't think it's really tilted at all. Nails are, rounded. They're not totally flat. And doing the head tilt and trying to maintain symmetry in the face when it's my first time doing a portrait, simply not possible. So I worked on the shape of his face for a very long time. And what I ended up with was pretty much just a straight up and down face. Then I go in and try and do the features. I did not know what I was doing. Hairline was the whole face was not long enough. Hairline was way too low. The nose was too short. The eyes were too close together. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, okay, let me try and draw the eyeballs in and see if that makes it look more like him. Let me try and... So I'm doing all sorts of stuff. Then I just was like, okay, I have to draw this in blue and then see what I can see. I ended up stopping filming so that I could get in really, really close and just absolutely, just lock in. So here's the jump. Yep. And that was all I did while the camera was off. Then I was like, okay, I'm just like tweaking things here and there, for the next hour or two. So I turned the camera back on. This is sped up like crazy. That's why it kind of looks like little jump cuts. It was, like I said about Impressionism, it's just like you just lay some color down, tiny little pieces of it in all over the face, all different little shades of blue, and some green and some white and some black, and like it's just tweaking literally for an hour or more. And I mean, between each of these I have to cure, and it's just working on it, and little by little it gets closer to what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so in the end, I don't know, I don't want to say I failed, but he doesn't look like Jake at all. He looks like one of his sons. Mostly, I think, because of, first of all, he looks younger. Like, his face is kind of rounder than, like, it's not as long as it should be. And then also his hair. Okay, I made his hair way too thick. It looks like he has a bob. He does not have a bob. Look at that picture. Like, that's not a bob. But that didn't work out. Okay, so there it is. What's the bob about? I don't know. Okay. But as far as a face goes, I think it looks good. And I'm proud of it. It's my first time. So I also did it in matte, but the eyes are glossy. Anyway, that's all. Bye!